What's up, Leo? I saw that you were super down in the dumps when you got home.
I don't know if down in the dumps even cuts it. I'm underneath the dumpster at this point.
What happened?
Today in math class, Miss Calder told us about a new grading policy they want to start using. In order to level out the playing field, they're planning on lowering the grading scale so that more kids can start getting A's and B's when they haven't actually earned them. Isn't that crazy?
Oh, man. I know how hard you work to keep your grades up. What do your classmates think about the new change?
The kids who never study or turn in any of their work are so excited. They can probably keep on doing what they're doing, but now they're gonna get better grades? That's so unfair.
I totally agree. There's gotta be a better way to go about this rather than just lowering the standards. You ready to use the history app to visit someone who might be able to help us?
At this point, I can use all the help I can get.
We have a very difficult history, especially in the course of the last few centuries. The painful experiences of our history have sharpened our sensitivity in the field of the fundamental rights of man and of the nation, particularly the right to freedom and to have freedom of conscience and religion. We think about our future, and the future begins today.
Wow, listen to the crowd. They really loved what he was saying.
You can say that again. It sounds like people are even calling him Your Holiness. Oh, here he comes. Do we look okay? This guy's a big deal.
Welcome, children. It has brought me so much joy to come to my native Poland to preside over Mass today.
It's so nice to meet you, Your Holiness. My name is Layla, and this is my little brother Leo. We've actually time-traveled from the future to learn how to deal with things that are unfair.
Wonderful to meet you, Leo and Layla. My name is Pope John Paul II. You've traveled to the right place because my homily today was all about the importance of fighting the ultimate injustice.
And what is that?
Right now in Poland, as well as other parts of the world, we are fighting against the major evil that is communism.
You know, I've been hearing a lot about communism and socialism on the news back home. A lot of younger people really want the United States to try it.
The youth in America are supporting communism in the future? Lord in heaven above. That means our fight is far from over. We still have a lot of work to do.
What makes communism so bad again?
It is a political system that does not recognize God, where individual people own nothing, and instead the government owns everything. Communist governments are against private property, travel, and even freedom of speech. Individual people are not cared about, and they have no rights.
That sounds pretty bad.
Indeed, my child. It destroys countries and harms many, many people. Societies collapse morally, intellectually, and economically. Unfortunately, communism has surrounded me my entire life, ever since I was a little boy.
Really? How come?
Growing up in Poland, we were surrounded by evil on both sides. Nazi Germany to the west and the Communist Soviet Union to the east.
Yikes! That does sound really rough.
You're telling me. When I was attending university, my school was closed down by Nazi troops. The Germans had invaded Poland from the west, and 16 days later, the Soviet Union invaded us from the east. It was a very frightening time.
Super scary.
I knew I wanted to become a priest, but I had to continue my studies in secret.
Why'd you have to do that?
At the time, people of the Jewish faith as well as non-Jewish leaders, which included priests, were either taken to concentration camps or killed by the Nazis.
That's terrible. But I don't get it. Why were they trying to hurt people who practiced religion?
Because, dear children, like the communists, the Nazis did not believe in God either. They were a government set on controlling people, and people of faith challenged that control. And that is what communism still sets out to do. It aims to stomp out any type of individuality and any type of freedom and religious faith so that people put their faith in the state instead of God. In its own way, communism is its own religion, just a godless one. But as you witnessed here today, there are still many believers who continue to put God above all else, which is a direct threat to the communists' plan.
You were very brave to become a priest in a time when you could have been put in some real serious danger.
Thank you, Layla. I just remember witnessing the horrible things the Nazis did firsthand, especially against many priests. It showed me the real meaning of the priesthood, and I became more devoted than ever.
Wow, I think I would have been too scared to keep going.
I knew the Lord had a special purpose for me and that He would always be with me. After World War II ended, I finished my religious studies and became a priest in 1946. I became a bishop in 1958, an archbishop 6 years later, and I was made a cardinal in 1967. Then, in 1978, I made history by becoming the first non-Italian pope in more than 400 years. As the leader of the Catholic Church, it is very important for me to travel the world, to spread the message of faith, peace, freedom, and nonviolence.
And it sure sounds like communism is the opposite of that.
Correct. Communism claims to level the playing field for all citizens in a society by making everyone equal. And through much fear and violence, they take away rights until everyone is equally controlled. To a communist, it is fair when nobody is free to rise above what the government allows.
That makes me think about what's happening at my school. My teacher is sort of forcing all of us to be equal and thinks that lowering the standards will help struggling students do better. And I think that's totally unfair. I work really hard to earn my grades, and now these kids are gonna get A's for doing the bare minimum?
Ah, that is a great comparison, Leo. Now, let me ask you this. If your classmates will earn good grades without doing the work, do you think you will continue to work as hard as you do now?
I haven't thought about that, but I guess not. Why would I keep working so hard to study when I'll just get the same grade as someone who does nothing?
Exactly. Communism crushes talents and the work ethic of the individual, while in contrast, systems that are in place in the United States allow for each person to experience success when they work their hardest.
I guess some young Americans don't realize how good we actually have it.
That is very true, Layla. There is so much to thank God for each and every day, especially you children who live in America. You make sure you're saying your prayers of thanks every day.
You're right. We won't take it for granted.
But it's especially important for you now, Leo, to speak out against this injustice at your school. Do not remain silent. Stand up for what is right, even though that isn't always the easiest thing to do.
I know, but I'm nervous. I feel like I'm in this fight all alone.
You're not alone, Leo. I've got your back.
And you're never truly alone because God always stands behind and protects those who fight for good over evil and for right over wrong.
Yeah, but how do I even get started?
Pay attention to your classmates at school. There are always people who agree with what is right. Like when I joined forces with another leader who is also very vocal against communism, President Ronald Reagan. We both shared the values of fostering peace and promoting justice, freedom, and compassion in a world that is still filled with the forces of evil.
We met President Reagan. He's awesome.
I can see why you two work together. President Reagan was also a very influential and powerful person. This is giving me an idea. Leo, do you think there's someone at school you could partner with to make your opinion known? Maybe one of the super popular kids who agrees that this new grading system is totally bogus. What about Johnny Sanchez?
What? Are you saying I'm not cool enough to take this on by myself?
I mean, kinda. But I also think two heads are better than one. By teaming up, you, the voice of the nerds, and Johnny, the voice of the cool kids, I really think you two could have some serious impact.
It's true. The more people you have who can stand up to injustice with you, the better it will be for your cause.
Thank you, Your Holiness. Your fight has really pumped me up to take action. Keep up the good work.
You're welcome, Leo. Be not afraid, and go in peace to love and serve the Lord.
Bye.
I'm really proud of you, Leo. You and Johnny Sanchez made a great team speaking up at the school board meeting today.
It went better than I thought, and Johnny and I worked together really well. We wrote out what we wanted to say about the new grading policy and hopefully proved our point to the school board that lowering the standards won't really help anyone. It'll actually just kill the motivation of the hardworking students, just like Pope John Paul said.
And just like Pope John Paul, you stood up against something that was clearly wrong. And did you hear all the applause at the end of your guys' speech? It was almost as loud as the crowd we heard at the Mass in Poland.
No way. But I was happy to see that a lot more people than I thought were on our side. Do you think the school board will change their mind?
Is the Pope Catholic?
I mean, he is, but I don't see what that has to do with what I'm talking about.
Oh, Leo.
If you liked time traveling with Leo and Layla, watch more of their adventures at PragerUkids.com. And parents, don't forget to subscribe.